Robinson's on the phone. You want to introduce him and let him do his discussion? You introduce what he's here for?
You know, Dave, you are very, very distant, so I am having a little hard time hearing you.
I think if I could say something, I think, Rob, your fan above your head, we're hearing that as a background noise.
Oh, all right.
Distant, so I am having a little hard time hearing you. Yeah, I can hear everybody else very well.
Yeah. If I could say something, I think, Rob, your fan above your head, we're hearing that as a background noise.
Oh, all right. I am having a hard time hearing you. Yeah, I can hear everybody else very well.
Is that better?
Yes.
I think, Rob, your fan above your head, we're hearing
Just gonna remind everybody to put themselves on mute.
Yeah, YouTube.
Yeah. Okay.
It's Allie's computer, I think.
If I could ask everyone who's not speaking to go on mute, please.
Dave, I think it's Allie's computer.
Are you using this or not?
Because it's not doing anything.
Okay.
Why do we have to do both?
Dave, I think it's Allie's computer.
You can blame Allie, I don't care.
It's gotta be because I'm the only one with a computer just doing this. But I have no idea what's wrong.
Why don't we use just the one computer and you just push it
That's
back
what
and
we're
forth?
doing.
Yeah, that
to
was
talk?
shut down and
Portion of my life. Well, yours is still up. Meaning, I'm with you.
oh, right.
There, let me clarify that.
What is the shutting?
How do
Was that fair?
Mine's off.
Oh. Because I'm with you.
I can't believe they throw you under the bus. It's just Allie's computer. It's Allie. It couldn't be us. It's Allie.
That's okay. That's my job.
Good thing you have broad shoulders.
Okay, I've got mine off.
Hey, Dave, it's Mike. I'm not sure if you can hear me or not, but I know it's coming from Allie's side because when we hear all that background noise, hers lights up. So we need to try to find some way to mute that.
I'm not sure if you can hear me or not, but I know it's coming from Allie's side because when we hear all that background noise, hers lights up. So we need to try to find some way to mute.
Well, there's an echo. It's because one
Did
is
that work?
live and one is on YouTube.
Oh, where's YouTube? I know what it
It's
is.
recording. It says live.
I
on
know what
YouTube.
it is now. We can close this right out. There.
Back feeding through YouTube.
Yeah.
Can't be broadcasting.
There you go.
Is that better?
We can't hear any of it. It's perfect.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
100% perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so you can hear me, right?
Thank you for being you.
Quiet, everyone,
Oh.
please.
Sure.
So can everyone hear me now?
Jack can hear you.
Okay. I can.
Okay.
Nice.
All right, so let's get started. Jack, could you introduce
Mr. Robinson.
Mr. Robinson and tell him what he's here for, please?
Well, good morning, everyone, and good morning to Tom. And while it may look like I'm driving, I'm actually in the back seat traveling one of the interstates in Massachusetts right now. So to make sure the record is clear on that. It's my pleasure to introduce Tom Robinson. Tom, his family goes back a long ways. They're from Corinth originally. Tom lives in Lake George, and I'm going to let him explain what he what his day job is, what he does day to day. But he's bringing a very interesting project, which is going to provide some security for his children and hopefully on. And he has it in the industrial park. So with everyone's and Mr. Chairman consent, I'd like to introduce Tom, and Tom, take the floor.
Tom, you're on, I guess.
Isn't that Ryan?
Ryan?
Yeah, it's Ryan. I don't think my father's going to be able to make it. He said he was going to try. Doesn't look like he did. He's very busy in New York City right now, taking care of the schools and the hospitals and everything through their HVAC equipment. What he likes to do is he does some technology and some other things such as that to where he basically does data streaming, where he provides information for all of the different maintenance and providers so that they can really know their systems and how they operate. It's one of the reasons why my father and I have worked with him many years since I was born. And we've been talking about how we can implement that in different aspects here in the North Country. And we currently set up a business last year in November 2019. We took an existing business that was doing residential trash, and we're hoping to update it, innovate it, take existing technologies and make it so that we can really change the way in the platform how people look at trash. I also do pest control as well, something that we've always said should have more scrutiny and more accuracy for environmental reasons and safety. And that's another avenue that we're looking at expanding into. Along with that, we just recently received a dealership with Husqvarna for their lawnmowers, their robotic lawnmowers. And we're hoping to take that technology and expand it a little bit further for people in this area to where we can really give true lawn care services with an environmental footprint, thumbprint with it, a little green thumb, giving in a conservation aspect to it and protecting our soil, our water, wildlife, and other resources.
So this is Jack. I'll jump in. Their interest at this point is to purchase one of the lots. Originally, they were interested in lot 3, but Nolan Petroleum was a few weeks ahead of them. So we're now going to be redirecting ourselves onto Casey Road, and we'll better be able to define which particular lot when we do get the wetland delineation mapped out and be able to ascertain the size of their building. They primarily are going to use it for storage. Ladies and gentlemen, I do have to break in here. I just received a note that former Senator Joseph Bruno has passed away. I don't know if that had been brought to your attention before. But anyways, continuing on, there'll be minimal outside storage. The storage would be basically the containers that cleaned containers that they take and allow the customers to use. It would be part of the active day in and day out operations of their company. And it's my understanding also that no waste or garbage would be in the trucks when they are stored indoors in the facility. Would you want to pick up and describe on that a little bit more? Your father did a great job with his presentation to us.
So what we're looking to do is do R&D on the site, as well as having cold storage on the outside, as you had mentioned. No garbage will be on site. The compactor that we currently have is a small 6-yard compactor. It does a great little job in getting those tight areas. And the biggest thing there is no garbage will be on site.
So just to tie things together a little bit, what you want to do on the site is to build a building, use that building for your sort of headquarters of your business. You're going to do a lot of research and development on the deliverance of pesticides and also deliverance of, what am I trying to think of? Smart lawnmowers. And while you're in the trash removal business, there'll be no garbage or trash stored on the site at the facility on Casey Road.
Correct.
Let's get into what we're looking at. So can you explain one of the questions, Ryan, is pesticides? Will you be storing pesticides on the site or doing the research on the pesticides?
Pesticides would be stored on site. It would be in a controlled environment room, lock and key, indoors, because can't have anybody have access to those materials and to be safe.
So no open air application?
What the question was, no open air application. Is that correct on the site?
Correct.
And if I remember when you and your father were talking about the pesticides, the other type of research you're going to do is to research how to best apply that. So you're meeting the regulations of APA and New York State. Was that correct?
Correct. We're looking at doing accurate metering systems for soil treatments and to also control runoff and other vectoring profiles that could damage the environment and to protect our environment, because we do love this beautiful area that we live in.
So how do you do your research on the application? Is the research and application done at customer sites, or is there a place where you do that research for applications and measuring?
Yes, we're looking at doing a probe system to do soil sampling and to have absolute accuracy for each site that wants to be our customer. And by taking those soil samples and metering systems there on their site, we can determine when it's the appropriate time to applicate and how much we do applicate, because there are some very strict regulations in association with fertilizer near to water sources and on soil in general. So we want to be compliant with the DEC as well as the APA and the Lake George Park Commission.
Okay.
Let me interject at this point. Currently, the matter that's before you is the purchase of property and the project as defined. The other aspects of what the IDA gets involved with is the incentives that can be provided. At this particular time, it appears that their project is too small to actually benefit from that, but as part of their application, we had discussed with that Ally will do the normal cost benefit analysis, and if it is something that would be beneficial and could possibly add additional jobs, that would be something we would bring back to the IDA. But at this time, it's purely a land purchase project.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
Yes, I have a question. I have a bunch of questions. How big is the square footage of the building?
I believe we're looking at not too big. I think it's about.
Hey Ryan, I just joined in. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
I just figured out Zoom. 40 by 60 is the building size that we're looking at.
40 by 60. Pardon? 40 by 60, 2,400 square.
24, small building.
And
do you have roll-off containers in your garbage business?
Currently, no.
Are you planning on getting any of those?
It is something that we are interested in, and it would probably be in
And so then I would assume you would be planning in the future to be storing these containers on the property?
Yes.
Roll-offs.
But he said no garbage was gonna.
So these would be construction roll-offs?
Yes, sir.
And no construction debris would be stored on the property at any time?
No.
And what amount of pesticides would you have in that particular building on a gallon basis?
I'm at most probably 50 gallons. The critical thing with pesticides is to constantly roll them and use them, so we won't be stocking large amounts.
Yeah.
Very small amounts.
Yeah, they come in 1 to 2 gallon containers, and our suppliers in Addison, Vermont. So we don't have to maintain a large volume.
Lastly, your garbage, you pick up residential garbage?
Yes, sir.
Did they answer that in the
They
affirmative?
said yes.
Yes, he said yes.
Oh, and so how many trucks would you anticipate being parked there?
Currently, we would have 2 trucks.
And would those trucks ever be parked there for any reason full of garbage?
No.
No.
We could make that part of the agreement for the use of the land?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, we don't allow it right now. I don't allow the kids to have garbage in the.
Store to somebody parking garbage.
No, he said absolutely.
And how big's the property? Which lot? I know
I'm
it's
not-
not 3.
Lot 3, or no.
No.
Not lot 3. Tom, have you looked at those lots?
Yeah, we looked at the one that's on Casey Road. I don't remember how big that one was. And we also looked at the first lot on the left-hand side behind Roselle's.
Okay.
And I don't remember the numbers, fellas, but I think they're like 2-acre lots or something. I don't know which one's better. The one on the inside your park is more level than the one on Casey Road's got a slope to it going down into the wetlands. I'm trying not to bring a whole lot of fill and cut and fill and, to make a level spot for a building. So it'd be one of those 2 lots. Did I lose everybody? I lost the audio.
No, there's one lot on Casey Road next to Roselle's. That's 3 acres.
Well, there's just going up the hill on the left-hand side, up Casey Road on the left-hand side, just past your corner lot, there's an open spot there.
That's 1.83 acres.
Yep. And then if you go into the park, turn off Casey Road and go into the park.
Yep.
And the first lot, I would say on the left, behind Roselle's, across the street from your wood chip, the front door of your wood chip guy there that's making your bedding for the animal bedding, the pine, chipping the pine and making animal bedding.
Yeah.
Yep, there's a one across there that's had the cattails mowed down. And then, of course, if you go a little deeper and it starts to bend to the right, there's a ginormous lot in there on the left-hand side. We're not looking at that big lot.
Yeah. They're all about 2 acres.
Yeah, I think they're about 2 acres, yeah. 2 acres, I think is fine. I mean, what we're really looking for is a building to get the trucks inside so we can get our technology mounted in the building and get it developed, so we're out of the weather. And then once we've got the technology perfected, obviously, then we would like to, put that technology on other vehicles as our business grows.
You say you have a dealership for the mowers. Will this be also a retail space?
No.
How many employees?
There's 3 right now. It's just the family.
Family owned.
Okay.
So
And time frame for building?
spring of 2021.
That's good.
As soon as the frost gets out of the ground. Would like to have done it already, but we're gonna lose it, I think, through the winter. I'm not gonna build through the winter.
Tom,
Yeah.
you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Mike
So,
Biddle's got some.
Mr. Biddle's got some questions, so Mike?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, hi, good morning, Tom. Just was wondering from the basis of the acreage, the 2 acres, that you're telling us a 2,400 square foot building. That just seems kind of small to me to house 2 garbage trucks. You just said they were gonna be inside and out of the weather, and a research facility. So
Well, it's you got to understand, we're just parking the trucks at night. So you'll just roll them in at night and put down the doors. And in the day, we can roll them out and do what we have to do. 40 feet wide and 60 feet long is more than enough to park 2 trucks inside.
Okay.
I think
Great.
it's-
great, just double checking I heard right.
Yeah, we are gonna make the building, obviously it'll be a pre-configured steel building, you know, Varco Pruden or Butler style, whatever you want. Butler's normally wooden, but where we can knock an end wall off. If we ever had to expand, I may add a bay or something someday in the future, but we'd come to you, obviously, if our business is successful and we grow, we may want to add a bay, you know, on the side of the building or something. So we'll leave that open for growth.
And maybe you want another 2 or 3 lots when you get really big.
Let's be humble and conservative. We'll do, you know, let's let the business take us where it goes.
Hey,
Okay.
Tom,
Yes, sir.
I want you to expand because that means you're doing well. So we totally get it. It's why I'm asking the questions, my friend.
All right, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
I have one other statement, a question statement. Can we make sure that they get placed in probably one of the lesser visible lots? Because of roll-off dumpsters and garbage trucks, which at some point may not be able to be parked inside,
Okay.
just from a visual aspect for the park.
Okay, we'll look at the lots. We're still waiting for the delineation report to get back and see which ones are wetlands and which ones aren't, so.
Yeah, you don't want to get
We'll
that
get those
on the
better.
wetland.
No. All right, thank you very much. Any other questions, any other statements that you want to make?
Dave, it's Mike, if you don't mind. Dave?
Yeah,
I'm just curious, this is more of a startup type of business from what I'm hearing. I get a little concerned, and Tom, don't take this wrong, but you know, I worry about speculation on these lots, and we've talked about that before. If a business fails, what happens in, you know, year 1, year 2, year 3? Are they going to hold that lot and sell it to someone else, or what do we do? Because we have had conversations before about selling lots on speculation. Not to saying that's happening, but what's our thought on that, Dave? We're going to ask you.
what's our thought on that? So there's 2 parts to this, Mike. I think that Tom has a very successful business. He's been very good at what he's done in terms of HVAC and everything else. On the flip side, they have a good business plan. They're required to put a building on based on the contract we're doing. So on the contract, it states that they'll have the building completed, I believe, in 18 months. I think that's what it is. At that time, if they don't build the building, we have the option to take that lot back. We would pay them what they paid for us, but just like we did with another company who was unsuccessful in getting their business up and run, we bought the lot back. So it's potential that we buy the lot back, or there's potential that they could sell that property to someone else. And I don't care if there's any restrictions on that.
About selling.
If they resell the lot for some reason, if they build a building, their business model doesn't work, they're open to sell that business to, or that property to whomever they like, or do we have restrictions?
So they would be bound by the same restrictions that are set out in the covenants. So that business would also need to be in compliance with those rules and regulations that are on record in the county clerk's office. The way our current language reads is that we would, if we didn't buy back the building, and if this situation were to occur before we issued a certificate of completion of the project, then they really wouldn't be able to sell it to another party, because there would still be that language on record that would require a certificate of completion. So they would have to come back to us first. But if the certificate of completion had been issued, and so the project was done, but just they didn't move forward with the actual operation, then they would be free to sell it to whomever they wished, but they would still need to be in compliance with those covenants and restrictions of record.
So can I comment on whatever you just said, ma'am? We have a business that's been in business since 2011. I'm sure Ryan told you that, the little garbage business. We purchased that for a reason. So we had a P&L that would continue on and support Ryan as we did these other two ventures. The lawn care, fertilization, and automatic mowing, as well as organic growth on the pest business. So we have a business that's up and running, and it'll soon be 10 years old. So I don't foresee us not building a building or failing from that perspective. So I think we'll get a C of O from you guys with a building on it. And then we'll start developing our other technologies that we have in the pipe right now. This winter is the key. We'll probably do that on my premises this winter. But I'm fully looking going forward, not looking going backwards. If anything, I could see the building being too small for us in the future. Are you guys saying our business has grown to the point where you want us either to relocate into another location that's larger, or you want us to take some of our actions off the properties, to go somewhere else?
Okay, Mike, did you get all that?
I did. Thank you, Dave, and thank you, Tom.
Okay.
Good luck.
Well, again, luck's not a good business model. We work hard.
All right. Well, thank you. Any other questions?
I like this
So
guy.
Jack, we'll keep on going forward on that. Thank you, Tom and Ryan, for joining us. I think this is a good, exciting prospect for the IDA Park and for you. So let's thank you for coming, and we'll move on here. Jack will be in touch so we can get everything done.
Successful.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, and I'm sorry I'm late. Got my hands in a control panel down here in the city of New York, so working with some of our guys down here. So I'll get back to you. Ryan, I'll call you later. Thanks, guys. Sorry I'm late.
Yeah, bye-bye. All right, the second thing on the plate was Mr. Nolan. CARE has made the corrections to the contract, sent it back to their attorney for review. I think that, we already have the precedent of selling a piece of property to a propane and fuel oil dealer. That happened back in 2008. Unfortunately, the planning board, Mr. Nolan's already been up and talked to the code enforcement officer. They reviewed the project and said it looked okay. They did go back and figure out what happened with both. Apparently, there were big concerns because Royal Wood Shavings at that time was having fires, and the planning board didn't want to have propane and fuel oil next to them, so they denied their building permit. But those conditions don't exist on this lot, so there is precedent selling to them. I don't think that our covenant, at the time talking to Kara, I don't think that our covenant in outside storage applies to this, because I really think the outside storage was to prevent people piling stuff up there on the lots, because that happened in phase 1. And maybe this covenant was a little overreaction to that and should have been defined better, because I'm not sure it was intended to look at it. But even in phase 2, we have right next door in Roselle's, we have a lot of stuff stored outside. So it is business property, but it's not useless collection of materials. So we hope to have that back from Nolan by the full board meeting, so we talk about it and act on it. Any questions on Nolan?
Still lot 3?
Still lot 3. He looked at other lots, but they just don't meet his business model, and he was concerned about more of the wetlands back in the back where we're trying to go.
What's our next steps here regarding Nolan?
Nolan, like I said, Kara's based on a conversation with Nolan, his attorney, we refined the contract and we bring it back to the full board. The next meeting is provided that Nolan agrees in the language.
Great.
So then we'll move forward on that. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, did we okay the minutes from the last meeting?
We're getting there.
Oh, that's down further.
Yeah, we do executive part first, then we go into our regular meeting.
Thank you.
Okay.
I gotta learn how to read.
So, that's right. I've made that mistake before. She corrects me. Don't worry.
Pictures, put pictures on there for me.
So any other questions, any other developments in the park? Jack? Oh, Jack's gone, so I can ask Jack. So now we'll move to.
Good job, Jack.
Calling the ID Executive Governance Committee to order. And we'd like to get a motion to approve the minutes for the IDA Executive.
I would so
for
move,
September 9th. Moved by
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Biddle. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any omissions, corrections? Oh, you can't second. You're not an executive.
Oh, I'll second it.
Brian seconds it.
I'll bail you out.
Any omissions, corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
Dewatering road purchase update, still no change. We are working with a couple of prospects. Actually, the number of prospects we're looking at down there is keeping on growing a little bit.
What's the number now? How many prospects?
Serious prospects, 2, about 4 or 5 others that are interested in the area.
Very good.
So we'll see.
Brian Park.
Thank you. We did get the ability for National Grid. We're going to apply for a grant for National Grid, for which we will hope to get 2 things. The first thing, we'll get the match for the USDA grant, so we won't have any out-of-pocket expense of $25,000. The second we hope to get is a pre-engineering report for the bridge replacement, which I think the cost is about $15,000. And we're working with Laura Oswald and Beth Gillers up at Regional Planning Board and Laura Economic Development in Washington County to apply for that grant from National Grid. So they're willing to give us up to $90,000. So it's potential we would have $190,000 to spend in the marketing analysis and the study analysis for the park. And the bridge pre-requirement, which we got one bid in at $15,000. So we'll see what the other bids come in. They're looking at it. So we'll bring that up in the next meeting. So I'm working to submit that, get that grant ready for National Grid. So hopefully get the rest of the money.
Can, Mr. Chairman, could I, just to make sure, and I'm sure Ms. Oswald knows, but Thomas Icabelli is the Washington County customer service rep for National Grid, just to make sure they know that, to keep, at the very least, keep him in the loop.
Yeah, we're working with, he was on one of the emails and Susan Newcomb is the other one.
Okay,
Okay. She's our direct contact.
great. Just if we could keep Thomas informed, that'd be great.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll get this place sold, or part of it sold, and move forward to the industrial park. Actually, one of the companies coming really wants a substation because they're a data company and they want the substation for the power. That's all I know about it.
Is there an update on the delineation, or is that coming?
Delineation is coming. What the delineation happened with the delineation is they've had problems importing it. They have a person out in Syracuse that's trying to import it into AutoCAD so we can get the drawing maps. They hope to have it done. I need to call today and find out what the update is and see if that's done yet. So we should have that shortly. The Tane project, they will begin their application in. I talked to them yesterday. They're going to get the application in, so they want to go forward with everything. Hopefully they will have that in and we'll either have this at the next board meeting or we may have to have a special meeting for another reason, which we'll talk about later.
Michael, do you have that information? Were you here when it was presented? Okay, great. Couldn't remember your timing coming
Yeah,
on.
I have one of that.
Okay.
Dave's brought me up to speed on that.
So that's coming in.
So he's not way behind.
Potential projects, just covered it. Mr. Biddle and Ally has to get together the audit committee and get the budget so we can bring it up the next meeting. So we can set up a time to have that meeting. I'd appreciate it. As was earlier set was, I ended up meeting with Jim Siplon, and Mike Grasso was there also. But we had a great meeting with him. They're talking about how we can move forward. He's very interested in making sure that we are promoting the area and having unified goal in doing this. I think we started some meetings before COVID to discuss this. I know that's been important on Mr. Wild's plate also from Warren County, but it was a very good meeting talking about where we could go, what we could do together, and how we can coordinate the efforts of a lot of the LDCs, EDCs, and planning boards and everything else. So that was a great meeting. I think he has a great vision for where to take the EDC, but I think he's got an awful big set of shoes to fill with Mr. Bartholomew's unfortunate passing. So more on that. Anything else, Mike?
No, that's pretty accurate. He did have a really good article in the Chronicle about plans to actually expand his staff and do some more aggressive work, and not just limited to Glens Falls, you know, the city, more to the region. So, and he's a firm believer that we've got to coordinate more in Washington efforts. So it was a good meeting.
Well, regional approach is really what works right now.
Well, if you go back up, you know, when you were the chair, and I think Kaimana was the chair, and Ferguson was the chair, we were actually working together a lot more because Warren and Washington County Economic Development worked together.
Mm-hmm.
Were you there?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously we separated, but we look back at that.
12.
We look back to that time period, and that was really the real growth of the IDA and EDC in this area. And since we haven't been as active together, it hasn't.
It's stagnant.
Stagnant. So thank you for I was trying to get a more polite word, but we'll see. But that's accurate.
I'm a realist.
So we'll go from there.
Thank you, Dave.
Hey, David. Hey, Dave.
Yeah.
Just to put another piece of information in there, one of the reasons that it worked so well was that EDC acted as a salesperson for us and was paid a commission for when they brought things in. That's always makes you work better together when money changes hands.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other comments, Mike?
I don't know if I'm on mute or not. I don't think so.
I can hear you.
Yeah, I was going to say thank you, Dave, for doing that. Jim and I had a conversation about this prior to your meeting, and the whole concept is that, you know, Washington County is good for Warren County also, right? With the dewatering plant and the land we hand over there. So if it helps you, it helps Warren County also, because I'm sure we're going to get some kind of tax revenue out of that. So I'm very encouraged that we're going to be working together, and thank you for moving forward with that.
Yeah, I think, Mike, where you're going, the regional approach that's the point. It doesn't just help the area where it's happening, it helps the areas around you. And I think that's why we need to get back in that area. So yeah, I'm in agreement, and I'm glad you're, you know, hardcore on this, because I think that's where we need to get.
Hardcore. That means the fallout all comes towards me, but that's all right, guys. I can handle it.
That takes it off my back, Mike.
That's what I'm here for, guys. I'm going to be your offensive line.
Rises to the top, Mike.
Or sinks to the bottom sometimes.
Yeah, but I'm the offensive line. If there's stuff in the way, just let me know. I'm good at kind of moving things aside.
Okay, anything else for the executive part meeting? We are going to go into attorney-client after this to talk about another project that came up that I have confidential information on and requested not to let it out. So I do want to talk to the board about it.
Yes, just quickly, and I will be mentioning this for many meetings to come. I sent you all sexual harassment and workplace violence prevention PowerPoint and YouTube video. I will need the quizzes completed, and also if you haven't done ABO training, I sent you the link to sign up for that class as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Greatly appreciated.
Ally, I tried to sign up for that course, and they don't even acknowledge receiving your request. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, they're weird. They're weird.
It could be COVID.
Well, no, because the
Everything is.
classes, there's 2 classes, right in October.
Right.
that I see.
And I signed up for the first one and did not get an acknowledgement.
Really?
Wow.
They might be full because it is limited to.
You
20
think they
people.
would say we're full, please sign up for the next?
Yeah,
They
you
just
would
think
do
so.
that.
Okay, but overall,
Inefficiency at its best.
overall,
Keep trying.
I think there's a lot of good prospects, a lot of good economic news coming out. I hope we take advantage of it. Mr. Caimano and I are meeting with Hudson Headwaters Network next week. And there is a list of companies he's calling, but I would encourage anyone who hears about a business that wants to improve, expand, regenerate, come in, let us know, and we will aggressively go after those organizations now.
Can you expound on Hudson Headwaters, what that means about?
Hudson Headwaters is putting together well, there's actually a couple things we're working on, but Hudson Headwaters is putting together like a residential complexes for their surgeons coming in because they're having problems recruiting people. So we're looking at that to see if that's something we can help them with. Because it's a business aspect, they're doing it for business reasons. It may be a place we can help them out, but we don't know. We just need to find more information. We are reaching out to Fowler Square. Fowler Square is a mixed-use complex over by ACC. We are trying to get a meeting with them because I think that's a place we can do some business, some help with them, with tax abatement help and mortgage tax abatement and property tax abatement. So those are a couple we're looking at. We haven't heard any more back from the bottlers, have we? Mr. Ide?
Have not heard back from him.
Okay.
So question on Hudson Headwaters, because I know the hospital and Hudson Headwaters work together. But when Hudson Headwaters, and I don't know the facts because I'm not directly involved, has tried to take over the rural healthcare, and Glens Falls Hospital would like to keep the ones that make money and just get rid of the ones that don't. Long story short, that's not probably the exact truth, but it's close. So under this situation, Salem got dropped completely, got back to 2 days a week with primary care. Whitehall got dropped, got back to 2 days primary care until the PA that works there retires, which is the last day of December. So Whitehall is not an area that can be without primary care because it's either Rutland or Granville or probably Ticonderoga. Not good choices for Whitehall with the population, with the size. And then the days for people in Granville, if they all went to Granville, now your waiting list is high. So is there a way we can start a discussion? Maybe Hudson Headwaters, if they worked with us, would have an opportunity to buy all of the Glens Falls Hospitals now. It's not our job to drive the business. I would like to see where they're at, to see if there's opportunities. We can't lose rural healthcare in our county, just as you couldn't in Warren County. I mean, it's something that can't happen, but Hudson Headwaters is far more prevalent in Warren County at the moment, even though they have some in Washington County. But I think that to let them know that we have an opportunity to work with them, if that's something they could further, it would really help our county. And
we can mention it when we meet with them. Nick, put that on your list, please.
Okay.
Did I put you to sleep? Sorry.
No, I was on mute.
To be clear, that would only be a project for the CDC because the IDA can't do civic facility projects. So.
Good thing we're the same group.
Right. So, but it would only be a CDC project, primarily bond issuance for funds.
Okay.
Because they're going to be already tax exempt on other items.
Right. Okay.
It's just a concern I have that I think is far bigger than what we think it is.
Okay. Well, we'll see what we can do. All right. Anything else? All right. Adjourn the executive part meeting, and I'll call the CDC meeting to order. And I assume the same people are present. And I need a motion to accept the September 9th meeting.
So moved.
Moved by Brian, second by Mr. Biddle. Any omissions, corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
Old business? None. New business? Again, same thing on the budget. Thank you. I'll now adjourn the executive meeting, and can we tell who's online? Because we're going into attorney-client meeting, and make sure we need to
Craig,
stop.
you and me.
We need to
Let me
shut off
stop
YouTube.